And now I'm going to welcome Leah Carver to the stage. Come join me up here. Looking amazing. I feel like we changed up the lip color.
Yeah, we went a little darker.
Very nice. It looks
Sassy.
good. All right. Well, I'm sure you want to hear about Leah's lip color. Let's talk about her book instead. Undoing Hashimoto's: A Guide to Managing Symptoms, Relieving Overwhelm, and Living Well. Leah, what is this book about and who's it for?
So I wrote the book for women managing Hashimoto's, trying to live regular lives, keeping up with their children, going to work, doing all the things that women have to do. And they're finding it difficult to keep up.
So I was surprised to learn when I read your book, Hashimoto's isn't the kind of disease that's easy to manage. There's lots of different symptoms, and maybe you don't even know if it's Hashimoto's or something else. What are some of the things that I was going to say women with Hashimoto's, do guys get Hashimoto's too?
They do.
Okay, people with Hashimoto's, what are some of the symptoms that they have to deal with?
I think one of the biggest symptoms is fatigue, dealing with just exhaustion, pain, joint pain. You can have dry skin, your hair can get thin. The list is vast.
Yeah. So you have a pretty interesting background that you bring to this book. Obviously, you have Hashimoto's, which is part of how you became an expert on the topic. But I want to talk a little bit about your background and how you came to write this book. There are probably 100 books you could have written. Why this one?
So what I found when I got my diagnosis of Hashimoto's is that there was a lot of information out there about all the things to do, but there wasn't a lot of information about how to get yourself to do them. And my background is in spa education and yoga. And so I literally had to hack my own diagnosis. I had to take care of my symptoms that were just overwhelming and making me not able to make great choices in my life because of the stress, because of just not feeling well and exhaustion. And so I went back to everything I knew with the spa industry. I used a lot of hot and cold contrast, meditation, breath work, all kinds of things to actually manipulate my body to do what I wanted it to do.
I love the idea of biohacking coming from you, because when I think of biohacking, I'm always imagining Silicon Valley, like 25-year-old tech dudes, and you're so not what I think biohacker. Your face wouldn't pop into my mind normally. Do you think that is something like the whole biohacking movement? Do you think that's something that everyday, like regular people who maybe are not superhumans like Tim Ferriss, do you think that's something regular everyday people can benefit from without, giving up their whole life to do it?
Yeah, I actually think spa is biohacking from the ancients, and so is yoga. So, and it's for everyday people. It's not for, you don't need a lab, you don't need all this high-tech equipment. You literally need hot and cold, a shower, a bathtub, and some space that you can breathe and feel,
It's so powerful. So let's see. Sheila asks, how do you begin when you have a passion for a topic? How did you begin with this book?
I think for me, the most important thing in my beginning was to really maintain that passion, right? So much when we have a passion that's driving us, we can end up doing too much and we burn ourselves out. So it was incredibly important for me to maintain that passion and make sure I was feeding it at the same time that I was putting energy out towards it.
Oh, that's a great piece of advice. That's awesome. And Jade from Texas asked, how did you get past the idea of who would want to read my story? Did you have that issue?
I think I had every issue you can think of while I wrote the book, but I think mostly it was because it was so incredibly important in my own life and it made such a difference that I would have felt completely selfish not to share it. I want to give people the power to, create specific responses in their body, and there's nothing worse than having pain and having no answers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or except go to another doctor.
Yeah, you feel helpless, and that's like, it just takes you down.
So for you, writing a book, getting it published, it's been about a 4-month journey. What have been some of the easiest and some of the hardest parts of this journey? 4 months from an idea. Somebody earlier, Ashley from Tampa, was saying, how long did it take you to finish your book?
Yeah.
So probably about 4 or 5 months for you. What have been some of the highlights, the easiest things, the hardest things?
I can start with the hardest things. It's always easier
Sure,
to share the
definitely.
hardest things, right? So one of the hardest things was just getting out of my way, you know, long enough to get it down on paper. I would say I have been, you know, on a spiritual journey for all of my life, but, you know, 20 years ago was when I really delved into it. And this has been a really amazing spiritual journey. It's really pushed me to look at what holds me back, what keeps me small, and, you know, also that inner desire to be authentically me.
That's awesome. And I'll follow up with Janice from Medford's question. She says, how do you envision your life now that your book is done? What changes?
What changes is I get to do what I mean, I've always done what I love, but I really get to do what I love, and I get to help people every day, whether they read my book or they're connecting with me and I'm coaching them through the experience. They get the opportunity to evolve, and I get the opportunity to watch them.
Yeah, and I think that's like my best evolution is through my clients. I always get sent the clients that are like going to be my greatest teachers too.
Absolutely.
I want to share with everyone your book cover. Undoing Hashimoto's, a guide to managing symptoms, relieving overwhelm, and living well by Leah Carver. You can get this on Amazon, and if you do know someone either with Hashimoto's or any autoimmune disease, really, there's hundreds of autoimmune diseases that have been struggling with symptoms and maybe a little bit of biohacking from the ancients. I love that. I want to change the subtitle to Biohacking from the Ancients. Would actually help them get back into balance and get back into living well, which is, I think, what Leah wants most for all of her readers. So thank you so much. Congratulations on the book.